Okay, today we're looking at how to find the vertex from a quadratic equation written in standard form, and then we're going to review the key points of a graph that we've learned in previous videos. So let's review standard form. Standard form is written in ax squared plus bx plus c form. To find the vertex, this is new. The vertex, there is a formula that we use to find the vertex, and remember that vertex is that point of symmetry on a parabola, and that's every point's written as an ordered pair xy, but in this case we call it xh and yk to match our vertex formula. And there is a formula how to solve just for h, and it is h equals negative b divided by 2a. Now remember, h is x. So when we're solving for this, we're essentially solving for x. Okay. One more thing we can add is the c, the constant in our formula here, is our y-intercept. So these are our three main points here that we are going to use to help us today. So let's look at an example. And I have the function f of x equals negative x squared plus 4x minus 10. Now if you know me, you know that I like to write the formula right above, just so I can break it apart a lot easier, so when I'm trying to find different parts and which number goes with which letter, it's a little bit easier. I'm a visual person, I like to see it. So our first step is we are going to go ahead and just identify what is A, B, and C here. Okay, well, A is negative 1, and I find that because I have that negative in front of my x in the place of the coefficient A, and that's an invisible 1 there. Oops. Here we go. B is 4. You'll find that in the place of B here, that coefficient. And C is negative 10. Always keeping the sign in front. We talk about that a lot in my classroom. Now, remember, this is our y-intercept, that point that touches the y-intercept, the y-axis. So that's our first step, is identify A, B, and C. Second, we are going to find x, which, remember, is h in our vertex form. I'm going to use that handy-dandy formula given to us right here. So h equals negative, I'm keeping that negative. Remember, we follow those rules of our formula. So negative b, so I'll put negative 4 divided by 2 times a, and a is negative 1. Solve this, and we get 2. So if h is 2, that means x is 2. So you just found your x coordinate of your vertex. Our third step, we will take our x and we're going to substitute that number, x, into the original equation. And then you guessed it, solve for y. We have y equals negative, but everywhere I see an x, I'm replacing it with my 2. Solving that, and we get y equals negative 6. So you have just found your x and your y coordinates for your vertex. So, my answer, the vertex is 2, negative 6. Remember, that is a point, so we must write it as an ordered pair. Okay. The next part of my video, I'm just going to review, and we're going to discuss what this graph looks like. So we're going to review what we already have learned. And I'm going to squeeze this in down here. So let's describe the graph. know that my vertex is at positive 2, negative 6. So it's going to be in this lower fourth quadrant. I'm just estimating here. So there's my vertex. We also know that our A tells us 2 key points of our graph. And reviewing that real quick, remember if it's a negative A, it's going to open downward. If it's a positive A, it's going to open upward. And this is a negative 1. And I got that from up here. Remember, A is negative 1. So I know it's going to open downward. And I also know that my C value is negative 10, and that is my y-intercept. So I know where my other point is. Remember, you need 2 points to graph. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So knowing that it opens downward and my y-intercept is negative 10, now my graph's going to look something like this. Okay, and then we can go in more detail and talk about the domain, the range, and the axis of symmetry. So the domain, remember, x before y, h before k alphabetically, and d before r alphabetically, right? So domain is your x values. It's how it travels to the left, how it travels to the right. So if I'm following my graph to the left, you'll see it's slanting. It's never going to stop going down and to the left, down and to the left. So it's all numbers to the left, all numbers to the right. So our domain is all real numbers. Okay. Our range is how this graph travels vertically. So it begins up here at negative 6. It touches at negative 6. Remember our interval notation, so negative 6. And then the graph goes down towards negative infinity. And remember, infinities always get a parentheses because you can't actually put a point, a close point, or circle right there at negative infinity. It doesn't really exist there. So open parentheses, or parentheses for an open circle. And let's talk about that axis of symmetry. Remember, symmetry is where we, that point where we could fold a piece of paper over and it's going to just fit perfectly, right? It's that line right there where it can be cut in half, right down the middle. And you see my graph's not perfect. And that's my point of symmetry. It should be a reflection over that point. But remember, axis of symmetry needs to be written as an equation, and it's where x is a positive 2.